The invaders, the PSYK lords, didn't come with superior firepower. They came with the ultimate tactical advantage. They could hear us thinking. Every ambush we planned, every secret code we encrypted, every trigger finger that twitched with intent, they felt it all. To a PSYK lord, a human army was a loud, chaotic broadcast of intentions. They didn't need to be faster than our bullets, they just needed to move before we decided where to aim. Our greatest generals were dismantled in minutes because their brilliant strategies were nothing more than a bedtime story to the enemy. We were a species of talkers in a universe of silent, mental predators, and our own intelligence had become our death sentence. They mocked our strategies. They laughed at our coordination. They believed that because we relied on our prefrontal cortex to function, we were slaves to the delay between thought and action. They assumed that by reading the signal, they controlled the result. They were wrong. They forgot that beneath the layers of language, mathematics, and philosophy, the human being is the most successful killing machine in the history of its planet. They forgot that before we were architects, we were wolves. We created the Black Box Protocol. And we birthed the 13th Feral Division, the Void Legion. We don't use tactical headsets. We don't have mission briefings. We use neural shunts, industrial-grade spikes driven into the base of the skull that temporarily bypass the higher brain. We don't think about the mission. We don't plan the strike. When the shunt is activated, the human part of us, the part that doubts, the part that calculates, the part the aliens can read, is put into a deep, dreamless sleep. What remains is the apex. A creature of pure muscle memory, trained over 1,000,000 years of evolution to find the throat and tear it out. We are the instinct hunters, and we are about to show the PSYK lords that the quietest mind is the most dangerous. I am Commander Wildcard Logan. My neural shunt is currently humming at 60% suppression. In 10 seconds I won't remember my name, my home, or my fear. I will only know the kill. The mission was the infiltration of the Mind Hive, a crystalline fortress floating over the ruins of New York. The Hive was the primary telepathic relay for the entire invasion fleet. If it stood, they would continue to read the world. If it fell, they would finally be blind. Shunts to maximum. Engage the void, I whispered, the words already feeling heavy and meaningless. Legion 2 Sarah, signal, fading. See you, on the other side. Legion 3 Kale, no response. Already under. I hit the switch. The world didn't go dark. It went simple. The complex internal monologue that usually narrated my life, the worries about the mission, the tactical maps, the memories of my family, simply evaporated. I was no longer Logan. I was a biological weapon. My vision narrowed, my hearing sharpened until I could hear the rhythmic pulsing of the alien walls. I didn't see enemies, I saw targets. I didn't see cover, I saw paths. We breached the hive through a ventilation duct, dropping 30 feet into the chamber of seers. A dozen PSYK lords stood there, their translucent heads glowing with the effort of reading the minds of the human resistance outside. They felt us the moment we hit the floor, but something was wrong. They turned, their many eyes wide with a confusion that bordered on terror. They were reaching out for a signal. They were looking for a thought to predict. But there was nothing. No intent. No plan. Just 3 shadows moving with a speed that defied logic. The lead PSYK lord raised a telepathic blade, aiming for where my head should have been if I had been thinking about dodging. But I wasn't thinking. My body felt the displacement of air, sensed the shift in the alien's weight, and my nervous system reacted before the thought could even form. I slid beneath the blade not because I decided to, but because it was the only path to the target center. I didn't draw my gun. It was too slow, too mechanical. I used my combat knife, a jagged piece of carbon steel. I didn't aim for the heart. My hand simply found the weakest point in the alien's neck chitin. Crunch. The purple ichor sprayed across my face, warm and metallic. I didn't feel disgust. I didn't feel triumph. I just moved to the next target. The chamber became a blur of high-speed kinetic violence. The PSYK lords were screaming, not with their mouths but with their minds. They were projecting waves of mental agony, trying to find a consciousness to break. But we weren't there. We were hollow. Their mental attacks hit our void auras, and dissipated like smoke against a rock. Sarah was a whirlwind on the left. She had abandoned her rifle, using her armored gauntlets to crush the translucent skulls of the seers. She moved with a jerky, stop-motion grace that the aliens couldn't track because there was no rhythm to her intent. She was a glitch in their reality. Kale was on the mezzanine, his movements purely predatory. He wasn't clearing a room, he was thinning a herd. We reached the great brain, the central biological computer of the hive. It was a massive, pulsing mass of gray matter suspended in a vat of glowing fluid. It was the source of the telepathic web. It felt us approaching and let out a psychic roar that would have liquefied the brains of 1,000 normal men. I felt the pressure against my skull. It was a physical weight, a hammer trying to crack the shell. My void node flared, the amber light glowing through my skin as it fought to keep my higher brain offline. The great brain tried to simulate me. It tried to create a digital copy of my mind so it could predict my next move. But it found only the void. It found only the million-year-old hunger of the wolf. I didn't look for a control panel. I didn't look for a self-destruct sequence. I looked for the power source. I saw a series of organic conduits pumping blue energy into the vat. I didn't calculate the explosive yield needed. I simply pulled a core breacher, a heavy-duty thermal charge, from my belt and jammed it into the main artery. The great brain's many eyes focused on me. It sent a final, desperate telepathic message into my head. What are you? My mouth moved, but it wasn't Logan speaking. It was the apex. The end of the signal. I triggered the charge. I didn't wait to watch the explosion. The Void Legion doesn't do heroic exits. My body sensed the buildup of thermal energy, and I was already moving toward the exit before the first spark ignited. The mind hive didn't just explode. It collapsed inward as the telepathic web snapped. The great brain was incinerated, and with it, the ears of the alien fleet. Across the planet, the PSYK lords suddenly went deaf. Their advantage was gone. The primitives they had been mocking were suddenly invisible, silent, and very, very close. We hit the ground 5 miles away, our parachutes deploying by automatic sensor. As my boots touched the dirt, the neural shunt began to power down. The void receded. The human returned. The silence in my head was replaced by a crushing wave of fatigue, a splitting headache, and the sudden, overwhelming memory of my own name. I fell to my knees, gasping for air, the orange glow in my eyes fading back to a tired brown. Logan. Sir. Kill. Report. I rasped, my voice sounding strange to my own ears. I'm back, Sarah panted, vomiting into the grass. The price of the void was always high. The hive is down. Look at the sky. I looked up. The alien ships weren't moving with precision anymore. They were drifting, colliding with one another, their pilots panicking in a world where they had to rely on their own eyes for the first time. The human resistance was already moving in, their thoughts no longer a broadcast, their tactics now a mystery to the invaders. Humanity has proven the ultimate truth of the apex retribution. You can read our books. You can study our maps. You can listen to our prayers. But you will never understand the thing that lives beneath our skin. You can't predict a creature that has forgotten how to think just to remember how to kill. We are the Void Legion. We are the instinct hunters. And the only thing we want you to hear is the silence before the strike. The hive is ash. The signal is dead. The hunt is ours. The mission is over. Now get these spikes out of my head. I want to remember what it's like to be a person again.